Live streaming is on.
Hello, everybody. It is me, 7th Hanuman. I hope all of you are having a good Saturday. And in today's live stream, I would like to talk about the Fusion Center, something that's been going around within the TI community. Oh, 1 second, everybody. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, my wife just called me saying the cats were fighting, so I had to check up on that. So back to what I was saying. I was saying about the Fusion Center and how it's been a popular thing within the TI community. And I found this document. This lady, what I assume is a lady, wrote this document on the Fusion Center. And as I'm reading it, I can't believe how she would just sit there and dedicate the time to make up a document with nothing to back it up. And for the TIs that do believe in the Fusion Center, that is a problem, a seed, a piece of information that is inside your mind, and you will need to find a way to confirm that information. And I do not know how you are going to find the information because you wouldn't find any information on it. There is no Fusion Center. And sadly to say, if you don't find that confirmation to satisfy your own mind, you're just going to be stuck with that information, that uncertainty. Because I know there's no Fusion Center, so that's not my problem. I have no problem with thinking there's a Fusion Center. But if you do believe there is a Fusion Center, and if you don't find the evidence to prove it, and if you can't get out of that idea, then you're just stuck with that part inside your head. And it's going to be another problem, another form of fear, and it's going to be harder for you to get out of this loop that you are stuck in. I'm going to share the screen with you and on this document. So give me a second. Okay, so I hope you can see the screen. Um, so this document here. So on the top it said it says the FBI Fusion Center, how they set up their fake targets, and it's by K.M. Stewart, NSA, IA retired. So maybe this person is former NSA. Now, one thing about TIs, and there are TIs out there who more got a good credential, got a good career, and on paper it shows that they are very well respected. But when it comes to gang stalking, that doesn't mean they actually know what's happening, because they themselves are going through it just like all other TIs. And it's easy for the TIs to buy into another TI's information if the other TI have a career that's within the government department. So for instance, like this person from the NSA, now retired. So if this person wrote this document for a new TI to come in and try to find help, and if that new TI read this document, yeah, that new TI is going to buy into a lot of this information. But you have to understand, in this document, any information you believe in, you will need to find a way to confirm those information. Otherwise, you're stuck with this information and it'll be hard for you to get out of. Because the gang stalkers, their biggest weapon is manipulating your mind using lower voice to skull. And the gang stalkers know exactly what you're thinking. It knows your fears. It knows what bothers you. It knows your daily routines because it follows you every single day. So the more information you are receiving, it's up to you as a TI to analyze the information. And if you don't analyze the information or try to confirm the information and you just believe in it, the gang stalkers will use those information in the future. Most likely it's going to be a negative way against you. So in this document, there's going to be a lot of, basically all this information in this document, to me, okay, is made up. All this information are made up when it comes to gang stalking. Now, some of the information is very possible that they do it out in the field, but on actual real terrorists, okay, on real people that are dangerous. But that information here in this document does not relate to gang stalking for targeted individuals, because what we're going through, it's not the same as a government agency using the tactics to surveil a real terrorist, a real criminal. Because I know TIs, we are not criminals. A lot of TIs are just confused at what's happening and they're frustrated. They're so frustrated to a point where some TIs would commit mass murders. But that is only a small percentage, just very few of us. Not to say there are more mass murderers out there whom are not targeted individuals than actual targeted individuals. So TIs, we are not dangerous people. We are actually very smart people. It's just TIs are confused. They want to find the answer to what's going on. And it's so frustrating at times. It makes the TI behave like a crazy person. So in this document, it's titled FBI Fusion Center Fraud. And it goes on to explain how they set up their fake targets on the fraud watch list for profit. So it goes, take a contract from a partner like a corrupted federal agency, a criminal retired federal manager, a MIC contractor like Lockheed Martin, or anyone with money and connections. So this part right here is just very vague and very broad. at the same time. So it's like it's not saying much, but then it's also covering a huge spectrum of the possible funding of this program, of this fusion center. And just that alone is already a lot of work to find proof of this statement right here. Just this little piece of information right here is already requiring a lot of work. And it covers such a huge range of possibilities. So let's continue. Two classes of victim. So there's first class is personal. It says put a vengeance for hire contract on a whistleblower, competitor, ex-wife, etc., or general victim. Call out vulnerable random people to fulfill non-consensual bio experiments, transhumanist experiments, medical chip experiment requirements, the military, MIC, and biolabs, which the predator class say it needs. The more threats, the bigger the federal and state budget. Okay, two classes of victim, personal and general. Where would a person go to find a fusion center and actually pay these people to have a contract like this, to make that fusion center, to send out people to gang stalk a targeted individual? Because I know I haven't done, I mean, I do sometimes debate people, it gets heated, but I myself have not committed enough crime or serious crime to cause somebody out there to hire gang stalkers to mess with me. Now, I don't know about your background as a TI, but I know I feel comfortable that a lot of TIs out there are just average people before they started being gang stalked. And maybe some TIs out there are military background, but one thing the TI need to realize is the reason you believe you're on this program, or you got on this program, is because that reason comes from your guilt. It comes from your history, your experience of what was the worst situation ever happened to you. And from what I've been researching, a lot of TIs, they don't have enough bad history that would justify to be put on this gang stalking program. And if you believe you're put onto this program because you did something bad, and if what you did was so bad, they don't need to hire people to surveil you. They'll just kick your door down and come get you. They don't need to follow you for years just to mess with you. And the elites, okay, the multi-billionaires, they wouldn't hire people to come follow you around because it's fun, because it's something that's so sick, and their predator mindset just wants to mess with people. That is not fun. They could do way more fun stuff with their money. I mean, us TIs, we're not that entertaining. Think about it. I mean, do you believe you have entertaining skills for these billionaires to watch you, and for them to watch you for years? That's a waste of their money. They don't waste money like that, even if they have billions of dollars. And it's also a way of not believing in how special you are as a TI. I've always been telling you guys, TIs are special. If you believe you're on this list, that is the lower voice to skull messing with you, and you bought into the idea, which is something all TI starts out with. Every TI begins with believing his neighbors and government. While some TIs, fortunately, you know, it depends on many circumstances, they are able to discover different things to lead them to break out of it. And some TIs are stuck in it because for one major difference is where you live. You live somewhere with a lot of people nearby, next to you, neighbors close by. It's gonna be really hard for you to break out of that. Most likely, those TIs gonna get stuck at the stage of believing it's neighbors, at the stage of believing it's government and law enforcement. And I feel bad for those TIs. And I've shown that it's proven that even for 2 years now, I've been making videos. The effectiveness of trying to help these TIs, it's not great. But hopefully over time, they will wake up from it. So here are some of their tactics in this document. Study the intended victim's backgrounds, exaggerate or just fabricate suspicious activity reports to create a fraudulent FISA court request for a surveillance warrant. So FISA is the I looked that up. It's the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Agency, something like that. So it's like foreign intelligence related. So and continue on. Replace surveillance equipment with high-tech weapon. The FISA court will pretend it does not know the difference. Renew warrant endlessly on feeble grounds for the life of the target. No prosecution intended or the intended fraud would be revealed, and all targets must be discredited and die to get rid of witnesses. So this FISA court, if this person, the person that made this document, it brought up this FISA court, then that means this person must have some form of evidence. But the way it was written, it's basically saying the reason they are brought in, the reason they go to this court is because there are fake reports, there are fake suspicious activity reports to trigger this court to allow the surveillance of the target. Yeah, that sounds like it kind of makes sense, for a new target, a new TI trying to find information and read this information here. Yeah, it's believable, very believable. So how would a TI that believes in this part of the document, how would that TI confirm if it's true or not? I wouldn't know because I have no problem with this. I don't believe in this whatsoever. So if you believe in it as a TI, then it's up to you to find your way to the evidence. And it's tough. It'll be hard for you. But you're gonna need to. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck with believing in this. Maybe for a couple years until finally one day you realize maybe this is not possible. But without that confirmation, the lower voice to skull could beam the thought and idea into your mind one day and remind you of this, and then you could buy into it again. It's like a cycle. So you're gonna have to think about it. What have you done in your past to justify some group or somebody out there to put in the time and effort to submit a report on you and try to get this foreign intelligence surveillance agency to execute the request? That's for you to answer, because I know I'm not a dangerous person, and this is not true. This FISA court thing is not true. So continue on. Prime the innocent target, scapegoat, by covertly injecting them with a GPS chip, 3 triangulation chips for constant brain targeting, various medical chips to degrade their physical health, and nanotech to enhance the suffering and damage weapons cause going through them. So the chips, somehow GPS chips are injected into the target, and it's able to allow electromagnetic weapons to go through the body of the target. If you believe you have a chip inside your body, you're gonna have to go get scanned. You have to. And I already know when after you get your result, there might be these little specks of like white dots, and the doctor's gonna tell you, "Oh, I have no idea what that is." If that happened, you're gonna have to get another scan. Don't believe the doctor and go to have surgery and try to see what's there because there's a little white speck. I mean, if you want to, it's up to you. But if you see that scan, you see a little white speck, you're gonna buy into it. You're gonna start believing that's got to be the nano chip. And if it helps you to get surgery to let the doctor cut it up and go in there, fine, so be it. You should do it if that will help you. But will you believe the doctor when you wake up and the doctor said they didn't see anything? Will you believe it? You see how it's these different seeds of fear. It can branch out. Let's just say you go get a scan, you see the result, and you see these little specks of white, these little white dots. Okay, and the doctor's going to tell you, "Oh, I have no idea what that is. I've never seen it before." And you get a scan again. Hopefully, the second time you'll see that white dot in a different spot. But if it's on the same spot, then hey, maybe you should get surgery and have it checked out, because the doctor will most likely tell you probably going to need to open you up in that area to see what's there, what that white spot is. And once you get the surgery done, are you going to believe the doctor if the doctor tells you they didn't find anything? You're not going to believe the doctor. So you get another scan, and the white speck is gone. Then now what do you believe? Because the doctor first told you, "Oh, there's nothing there," and now you get a scan again and the white speck is gone. So was that white speck just a mistake in the beginning, or was there really something there and the doctor took it out and just tell you they didn't find anything? See how all these things could just lead on to all these different thoughts for the lower voice to skull to use? Just me explaining it right now, it's I'm getting all these different ideas and thoughts of the what if. And these what if, it's going to be a problem for TIs. Just fear on top of fear on top of fear. So let's continue. Covert pre-targeting insertion methods. So A, knock victim out, can utilize frequency or gas or drugs in food. Enter house, insert chip tech. So that's one method. Drug the victim. When they pass out, go into the home, put the chip in their body. So part B, hijack opportunistic medical procedure with DHS friendly sell out doctors. So maybe somehow hire the doctors to do it during a medical procedure. So C, cause an accident or medical emergency to get a specific target into a DHS friendly hospital. And then somehow Raven's claw device can target any organ by frequency. It can mimic a kidney stone episode, get nanoed secretly into the victim, on IV support supposedly for pain. So the person who wrote this document believed that the nanotechnology could be so tiny it can be in the IV, and somehow through the IV it gets into your bloodstream. It's all very science fiction, right? It's all very possible. Okay, I get it. It's possible. But if you really want to sit there and start being creative, you can write out even more method to somehow put that chip into a target. And the list goes on and on. You have to realize something here as a target. I explained in my videos for years I was in a state of trance, not fully with reality. I was functioning. I was functioning, doing the daily activity, going to work, but also I was receiving a lot of gang stalking related thoughts and bunch of bullshit from the lower voice to skull. And over time, I bought into this false sense of reality because I was, isolated somewhat, wasn't really friendly, didn't want to talk to people, was thinking a lot, daydreaming a lot, and wasn't watching local news. So it was just on a daily basis, I was living my life based off of whatever ideas and thoughts that were in my mind. So that was my way of seeing the world. It's just whatever's on the radio or that videos I watch on YouTube, uh, late night reading up on other people's articles, or just thoughts and ideas in my mind. And that's how I see the world. And if you think about it, just the first part, it says knock victim out and then enter house, insert chip tech. Think about the seriousness of what's going on. You're talking about someone drugging you, break into your home, use some type of gadget to insert a chip into your body. That is like something out of a sci-fi movie. Oh, and there's another thing is I did used to watch movies on Netflix, a lot of horror films, a lot of action, really sick action, like bloody death type of movies, horror films and scary films and sci-fi. I was really into sci-fi. And this method right here mentioned is just like a sci-fi movie. I believe TIs are just not that fascinating. We are not so fascinating to a point where people are going to do this to us. This idea itself comes from the lower voice to skull. Think about it. No one is breaking into your home. And if they did, it's a real robbery. It has nothing to do with gang stalking. And you have to ask yourself, why do all TIs start out similar? Because I have made publicly mentioned that in the beginning, I thought my neighbors came into my home and installed these little speakers inside my TV and in the corner of my ceiling and hidden cameras. I publicly mentioned that in my videos in the beginning. So all TIs go through this similarity. It's almost like a tactic, like a manual that they go through. And they use what they follow the manual, and that's TI go through this process. I've been telling the TI community how special we are, and you guys are special. And it's not because the government are doing this to you. You're special because we are like oracles. We are like psychic mediums. We are the bridge between two worlds. We can hear the spiritual world. We can communicate with them. We can hear them better than the average person on this planet. But if you don't understand this, they will mess with you. Because the one thing I learned about the spiritual world, the spirit world, is any spirit can come along at any given time and mess with you. So imagine there's a bully that just hangs around and won't leave a person alone. So that bully can just mess with that person. And the good spirits, if they do decide to help, they'll try to help guide you out of those bad situations. But if your mind bought into all the bad ideas from these bad spirits, then you're kind of living a life being guided by these bad spirits. Because they have put the fear in you, and you're just living your life in fear. And every day these bad spirits are causing fear within you. While the good spirits are now have to work harder to try to guide you out of it. While some people got no spirits follow them at all. While some people are just so evil, no good spirits would even waste their energy, because it all costs energy to try to help this person, because that person just nothing but evil spirits following that person. Now, I don't want to go too far off of this document here, so let's go back to this document. So what I just said about spirit, you can believe it or you cannot believe it, but I recommend you do research into it. Don't just say, no, there's no spirits. You need to research into it. So let's continue. On the bottom here, it says, prepare victims' neighborhood and FBI Fusion Center officials can be law enforcement. To fear and hate manager, to fear and hate monger among neighbors, first, later throughout the town, fabricate a story about how very dangerous the intended victim is, despite no real indication of such ever. Fabricate a story false. Fabricate a story about how authorities can't quite get enough evidence on the person to follow due process and publicly prosecute him or her. So they will sidestep the Constitution to opt for 24/7 rotating stalking harassment with the use of secret high-tech weapons to slow kill him or her in such a way it looks like natural causes. Problem solved. No mess, no fuss. According to, okay, let's continue. According to, here we go. According to authorities who are actually covering up for other corrupt authorities by secretly murdering witnesses and victims under color of law. So basically, what they're saying is, what this author is saying is, make up fake stories in the neighborhood, in the community, to have the police and people in the community to volunteer to stalk the victim, the TI, and murdering the TI, murdering the witnesses and victims under the color of law. I mean, I'm just tired just from trying to figure out how can anyone prove this. Yeah, I believe in police brutality do happen, like for racial profiling, stuff like that. Yeah, it happens. But that's not the same as actually being gang stalked. But a lot of TIs would get confused and buy into that. It's like almost like taking reality, which is racial profiling and police brutality. That's real, okay? That's reality. And we see on the news, and it's mixed with a uncertainty of a fantasy of a TI, believing gang stalking is all government and law enforcement. And what's happening to the TI is got to be government and law enforcement. So it's like these two things are mixed into one and put into the TI's mind. And the TI is believing in it. And that TI's daily life, it's the way the TI project itself, it's exactly what I just said, that mix of reality and fantasy inside the TI's head. And the lower voice to skull will just keep shaping that idea and molding the idea. It could lead the TI into a point of no return unless there's divine intervention. And that divine intervention will come very soon. I'm going to help snap the TI community out of their funk. One second. Okay, so let's continue. So now it goes on to the fun part, the monetary incentive. If that claim of authority does not convince civilians to help or just stay quiet, monetary incentives are available to A, line of sight neighbors to aim weapons at the target 24/7. B, vehicular stalkers on standby to follow him or her driving or running errands or visiting friends and family to hit him or her with car-based weapons during the drive. Also hitting others around him as collateral damage. To hit the location he or she is in with 3 cars triangulating weapons into the location, be it a doctor's office, store, school, daycare, friends, or family. Collateral damage of no concern, of course, and passive stalkers. Okay, so the first one is that line of sight neighbors to aim weapons at the target 24/7. If you buy into that, what can you do? There's not much you can do other than move. Seriously, there's nothing much you can do. What can you do? How can you actually go prove that? The line of sight. How can the person prove that there's a line of sight, the neighbors are using weapon? Think about it. It's something out of a sci-fi movie. Your neighbors have this gadget in his or her home and is pointed at your house. That is pure evil. And that's why the TI community, the TIs that are buying to this, they're living their life believing their life is going to end on any moment. It's because their mind, their ideas in their head, it's surrounded by these pure evil thoughts. People are not this evil everywhere. It's ridiculous to believe you go to the grocery store and people in the store are using these weapons to follow you around and trying to beam something at you. And you're just getting attacked every day because somebody else is following you and beaming stuff at you. No, your gang stalkers are attacking you. Those dumpster stained gang stalkers are next to you. They don't have a physical body. They are real physical entities with no bodies. And they are surrounding you right now. I can feel mine on the back of my neck. And you know what I do? I use my hand and I just rub the back of my neck. And it starts to feel so much better. Because they're in the physical. Us moving around is actually also moving them. It's just our eyes don't see them, but they are there next to us. They're next to you. And TIs, we can pick up on the thoughts and ideas that they send us better than most people. But with that being said, if the TI don't believe in what I just said, that TI is going to be having a difficult time going through this entire process of getting yourself out of it. And a lot of it have to do with fear. Fear is their number one weapon against a TI. If the TI have a lot of fear, that's a lot of weapon for them to use. And that's why the no fear mentality is very important, because that is home court advantage inside your mind. When I say fear, some of you out there might be thinking, oh, I'm not scared. I'm not talking about scare as in confronting the gang stalkers because you probably want to confront them. The fear is more of the unknown. Fear as in you want an answer, but there's no answer. And it's causing you to start stressing out. That type of fear. Not because you're not too scared to confront a gang stalker. They're literally standing in front of your face. Okay? So know the difference. For instance, okay, one of them is for all TIs, I would imagine in the beginning, is going to the bathroom, right? In the private. All those things are in your mind, and the lower voice to skull will use it. You have bad teeth, they're gonna actually makes you feel like you're shy, or you don't want to look at your own teeth. You don't want to get them checked. You don't want to. It's like onto it. It makes you feel like, oh, I don't want them to watch me in private. I want to. Some of you might feel like, oh, want to, like, once in a while, but you feel like that's the mindset you're gonna need. It's not care that they're Hello, can you guys hear me? Wow, I was actually talking this whole time. I don't even think you guys can hear me. Oh wow, I don't know how long I've been muted. Dang, this is terrible. All right, well, I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll just read some of those comments. Be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm back. I'm going to read some of this. Okay, TNT Storm said, "Hey everyone, hi TNT." And Targeted Tony. Yesterday, approximately 11:30 p.m., the gang stalking perps caused me to get into a car accident. This is the second car accident I've been in since being gang stalked and targeted in February of 2019. Wow, sorry to hear that happen, Targeted Tony. Um, I hope you're not seriously injured. I hope you didn't get hurt. And then, okay, next comment. They dispatch cars, people, etc. to your location using Fusion Center. Okay. I have to say that's, that claim is a bold claim. This Fusion Center do not exist. And just think about, you're talking about a place that's run by pure evil, and these people are sent out to your location to cause accident. Okay, maybe if you're like a real terrorist, or you have something that's you're transporting something that's very valuable or worth a lot. I could see that happening, but for the average TI, we are not that entertaining. We're not dangerous to a point where they'll do that to us. And car accidents do happen. And it's I feel bad that you got into a car accident. But Target Tony, for you to call it a fusion center, you buy into that idea. That's why you're getting deeper and deeper into this realm of no return in a way. Because based on what I observed from your videos, it's when things don't go your way, you blame it on gang stalking. And it's been like this for a while now, and you need to break out of it. So Christopher commented, how is it common knowledge, Tony? Seventh, could you please explain how one headlight cars are gang stalkers? Could you please cite your sources? One headlight cars are not gang stalkers. It's just the headlight that's out. But it's the lower voice to skull send the idea to the TI's head that, oh, there's a gang stalker. That's if that TI actually bought into that idea. And once that TI bought into the ideas, that is like a seed of thoughts, of ideas inside the TI's head. And the lower voice to skull will use that thought, that belief, to work against the TI whenever there's a one headlight car on the street. TNT Storm, we attract what we don't like. TNT Storm, wow, that's a great document. YouTube gang stalkers. TNT Storm is crazy. Unbreakable Target Tony. People who are genuinely being targeted are almost always being harassed by government agencies. Agencies and organizations like the CIA, DHS, FBI, FBI Infragar, Citizens Corps, and Citizens on Patrol are involved. Involved as in to mess with your life, Target Tony? Because that's a lot of departments. And for you to be followed by all these different agencies, you're like practically a terrorist. And I know you're not a terrorist. So don't label yourself as a terrorist because you know you're not. And what kind of history do you have, Targeted Tony, for all those departments, the DHS, FBI, FBI Infraguard, Citizens Corps, and Citizens on Patrol? What did you do in the past for all those agencies to mess with you, Targeted Tony? Maybe there's something about you that we don't know. Because that sounds like you've done something serious in the past. A lot of former police intelligence officers are opened their own private security contracting firms and started targeting dissidents and people they dislike or have personal vendettas against. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's personal vendettas and personal hates towards other people. I mean, that happens. But that's you shouldn't mix that with gang stalking, and especially to your gang stalking experience. So different TIs got different backgrounds, and some TIs have more of a criminal past than others. But even with that being said, what are you doing to cause all these agencies to follow you. And if you're still doing something that's criminal, then you should stop. And if you stop and it's still happening, then maybe you should ask yourself, is it really all these agencies following you? And even then, you'll probably get an idea that, oh, once you're on the program, you're in it forever. That is the lower voice to skull talking to you, and you're buying into it. You're trapping your own mind, you're trapping your own self into no way out. It's basically COINTELPRO with Stasi psychological warfare tactics combined. Okay, well, Tony, earlier you said, well, you wrote CIA, DHS, FBI, Infogar, and Citizens Corp, and Citizens on Patrol. And then now you said basically COINTELPRO with Stasi psychological warfare. Uh, that's a lot of different agency. You got to come to realization. You don't know who's doing it. You don't. That's a fact. You don't. But you haven't broke out of it. You still believing in all these different agency and you're buying into it every day. Over time, you're just stacking against yourself. Your mind is constantly like all over the place with who's behind it. And I know you want to know who's behind it, but you're not accepting the information. I told you it's evil spirits. Spirits are real. They are in the physical world. They just don't have a physical body. Why don't you dedicate some time researching that instead of into all those other agencies? Spend, a fair amount of time looking into that. Keep an open mind, look into it. You can't possibly say everyone who come out and said they encounter supernatural are liars. That is like just as crazy as some TIs, like the skeptics would call TI crazy, but the skeptics that don't believe in supernatural is also just as crazy because there are a lot of people that comes out and openly said, their experience with the supernatural and the unexplained, but the skeptics still don't believe it. It's like the skeptics believe all those people are liars. That in itself is like a TI, just with different problems.
Live streaming is on.
Sorry, I got kicked out. Man, my internet's been kind of bad. Oh man, unfortunately, all the live chats are gone. I can't read them no more. I'm starting to not like this Jitsi thing because I I like how StreamYard used to have the allowed me the option to click on the comment and it'll show on the screen. So I like that part about StreamYard. And but StreamYard is 720p, while this Jitsi is actually HD. And the audio seems better, but I like StreamYard and how I can click on the comment and show on the screen. That's really one thing that I like. But well, I lost all the comment. I can't read the comment no more. Oh, never mind. Got it back. Sorry, got it back. Okay, let's continue. So talking about break-in, Target Tony said, break-in is basically part of gang stalking, and no, I disagree because break-ins do happen, and it also depends on the neighborhood you live in, and it's terrible. It's a bad feeling. I don't want break-in to happen to anyone, but to call that as part of gang stalking, it's too much. And that usually comes from targets that are really bought into the government thing and the neighbors, being paid to watch you. Like when a target's really bought into those ideas and also bought into the idea that anything bad that's happening is not it's gang stalking related, then yeah, that TI would also believe any break-in it's because of the gang stalkers. But it's not. It's just unfortunate. Um okay, now next one is let's continue. If you're truly being gang stalked, then it's effortless to document evidence and show proof. There's really no good excuse or reason to not document your targeting, period. But see, and this is the confusion here. The people that are not being targeted think of TIs as crazy. Okay, crazy. But I know we are not crazy. I know the TI community is just frustrated because they have no answer to who these gang stalkers are. And with that being said, there's no documentation like the majority of TIs in the community talk about. You can't document anything. These one headlights, it's not lights are gang stalkers. While a person that's not a TI go seeing the videos will do not understand what they're watching and did not see any criminal activity or any crime being committed. All they saw was a one headlight car. But the TI would think that this person, the skeptic next to the TI watching the video, is probably part of the gang stalking to deny it. Probably that person watching the video is a perp to deny the fact that, oh, these are evidence and that's a gang stalker driving that one headlight. That is because the real criminal here is the lower voice to skull from these gang stalkers, these evil spirits that are next to the TI. But the evil spirits are not next to that skeptic. That's why that skeptic is not going through what the TI is going through. And the evil spirits are clinging on to the TI is because the TI can hear these evil spirits. I made a mention the evil spirits hit a jackpot for finding you because you can hear them better than anybody else. And one way for them to control you is the form of fear. Because if they don't want to mess with you, you live your life. The evil spirits, the good spirits, are just watching you. But if the evil spirit wants to partake in your daily activity, first of all, they need to control you, and to control you using a form of fear. Fear can branch out into guiding you, your daily decisions, guide you into doing different things because you're scared of going to the movies, so you just rather stay home, or you're scared to go to public places, so they will scare you into staying home. Because the gang stalkers are out, you don't want to go out, they're scaring you to stay home. Fear can actually really manipulate all your decisions, especially when gang stalking is so much part of your life because you are so scared of it. Not scared as in too scared to confront the gang stalkers, but scared as in the unknown, not knowing who these gang stalkers are, and not knowing who's behind it and who's at the higher at the top of the hierarchy, or not knowing exactly who is actually doing this. That type of fear, the fear of the unknown. Let's continue. AKA Hanuman Earth Gorilla, TNT Storm, Absent Minded Abe, TI News, etc. Well, Target Tony, I disagree with you, and your gang stalkers, your dumpster stain gang stalkers, have really got a hold of you. They are making you living in frustration on a daily basis. You need to break out of it. There's a lot of hate within you, Targeted Tony. And I can tell you're frustrated. You need to find a way to calm down. Maybe go camping for a day or two. Be away from everybody for a day or two. Go to the ocean. Hang out on the beach. You know, the oceans are always very spiritual. Go sit on the sand and face the ocean for a day or so. You need to realize that your mind, you're constantly surrounded by negative thoughts, Targeted Tony, and you need to snap out of it. Think about those happy moments, years past or years ago when you're a kid. Try to think of those moments and maybe, just do that again, just for a day, just to break the cycle a little bit. Turn on some good music that you like listening to instead of, you know, listening to your neighbors, or looking out the window or peeping out the window and see what your neighbors are doing. I mean, all those time you spend doing that is actually stacking up on your fear of the sensation of fear in your environment. You just create this environment of a bad environment, a bad living environment. So you need to break out of it. Go somewhere else, somewhere calm and relaxing and spiritual, and sitting on the beach is good. So you should do that. They almost certainly all work at the same fusion center together. Well, you're making a claim saying that uh, us content creators, are most likely working at this fusion center when there is no fusion center, and you have no proof of any of it because there are no proof of it because there are no fusion center. So you just trapping your own self. You really are trapping yourself. If you want to be fair, you have to think about it. You have no proof of that. You say I work for a fusion center, Nerve Gorilla, TNT Storm, Absent-Minded Ape, TI News. You have no proof of it and you know it. But for you to make a claim like that and you actually bought into that, you're really trapping yourself, Targeted Tony. Now they're censoring my comments. While I'm reading your comment here, I do have a delay of 15 seconds. Um, I'm actually reading all your comment, Targeted Tony. Christopher Sweet. Tony isn't being targeted. He has no friends and has severe social anxiety. He doesn't know how to interact with people in public. Uh, well, for TIs, going through this, yeah, that happens. I mean, they go through a phase. I went through a phase like that, but my phase didn't last very long. Different. It's different for each TI. Christopher on shift right now to stalk me. Well, okay. See, this is okay. This is a good example here. See, Target Tony, you're saying, well, you wrote Christopher is stalking you. Is on shift stalking you. How do you know this, and why would you say he's stalking you? This is a good example of how I'm telling you, you have been living your life and you've been associating gang stalking to almost anything that don't go your way. And even for a comment from Christopher, you label him as a stalker. So you're living a lifestyle that is just consumed by gang stalking. And I don't see how you're going to break out of it if you don't willingly try to change your cycle of the way you do things. Is You have to do it at some point. You have to. Like, you calling me a gang stalker, and I'm not stalking you at all. I'm not doing anything to you. But somehow the lower voice of skull, right, is able to make you believe that I am a perp. I'm doing this against you when I'm not doing anything against you. And same goes for Christopher. I mean, Christopher made a comment and you call him a stalker. It doesn't add up. It's not real. Fake TI perps and shields, such as TNT storms, will spread disinformation that sounds crazy to discredit the TI, such as aliens are responsible for the targeting, demons are jumping in and out of people's bodies. Well, actually, TNT Storm knows a lot of stuff, and her stuff, the stuff she knows, is not for the average people because they just don't understand. And she's got her method of sharing her information, and she have good intention. I mean, her intention is good, but the TI community, I mean, majority of them don't understand, and she's not trying to hurt anybody. She's trying to share her knowledge, but just people just don't understand. I mean, average people don't, but the ones that do understand, they actually know that she knows what she's talking about, and that's why I always have positive things to say about TNT Storm because I actually understand a lot of the stuff she's saying, and I agree with a lot of them because it makes sense. It brings in a different perspective for me. So, Target Tony, TNT Storm's not there trying to mess with you. She's not trying to make you into this crazy person. It's just the information that you're receiving from us is not what you want to hear. And the lower voice of skull is messing with you to make you think that we're doing it on purpose against you. So Real Donovan Show said TNT Storm is a crazy new ager. She's only here to help make us all look and sound crazy with her wacky new age beliefs. Well, actually, I think TNT Storm, she says she's not even a TI. She's only here because of something else. She doesn't even label herself as a TI. But so she is sincerely trying to help the TI community, and just so happened her information is more advanced. But what will be kind of interesting though? It comes to April when I share with the community what these gang stalkers look like. Once that happens, her information will actually connect with the information I share. So if you're actually gonna follow me and you believe in the stuff I'm saying, once I show you what these gang stalkers look like, it's actually gonna coordinate with everything TNT Storm's been teaching. It's gonna go into that realm of stuff, if that makes sense. Right here. Continue. Notice how Hanuman hasn't looked at the comments once he's being directed to do so by his supervisor. I got no supervisors. Like, what supervisors? And no one directed me to not read the comments. I'm reading the comments now. I was just, earlier I was analyzing that document, but then I know I got disconnected a few times. And I reconnected, but then I had no idea somewhere along the way my mic was muted. So that was before I took my break, and I don't know how much of my breakdown of the document was recorded. But hold on one second. I got an incoming call. 1 second.
Streaming is on.
Hello? It just said my live streaming is on again. So I don't know where it got cut off. My connection's been really bad. But I was saying Tony, you did make that up. Uh, you commented he's receiving orders in the background right now. Can't make this shit up. You made that up, and I was not receiving no order. Silence. They purposely messed up my typing. He's on mute, all by design. That is just really negative way of thinking, Target Tony. And it's been guiding you in life for who knows how many years now. You need to break out of it. But I don't know how you can do it. Maybe you need to just go camping. I think camping could really help you. Just be away from people. Just be by yourself for a few days out in nature. That might just really help you break your cycle. But you can't constantly be thinking negatively. It doesn't help you. And me, just because my connection's bad and I'm on mute, how is that affecting you in life? How's that really affecting you? Tony, you can't convince any rational person of what you're claiming. So that's from Christopher. And that's a good point from Christopher because it clearly shows the sign that Tony, you are thinking very negatively on people and what people do, and you associate that with what people are doing and it's purposely hurting your life. No, we're not. I'm here to try to help other TIs. And Christopher wrote, "You're going to end up in prison or living with your parents your whole life." YouTube gang stalkers. You can get targeted for being a Trumper and a Quran follower. Um, Targeted Tony. The whole crew is here to discredit tonight. I don't know what you mean by the whole crew. There's no crew. I'm by myself doing a live stream trying to help other TIs. There's no one here trying to discredit you or discredit the gang stalking government program. It's the same information that's out there on a daily basis for years, the same information. And I'm just trying to break it down and try to bring some clarity for some confused TIs out there. He's purposefully wasting my time. 10 full minutes of being muted. Can't make this shit up. Well, I didn't even know I was muted. I was talking the whole time. So thank you for sticking around, though, Target Tony. Christopher. Tony, please seek help. Real Donovan. Everyone that voted for Trump is already on a watch list. See, that's just really out of this world. And if you know about this watch list, then you gotta have to know a source of that information, and it would be great if you can provide it and show some real documents on that because I don't buy it. YouTube gang stalkers, election deniers are on the same watch list too. What is this intended to do? Aggravate? It's not working. Yawn. No one tried to aggravate you. Uh, and why would you? Why would you? Why would that even happen to you, anyways? Target Tony. Tony, seriously, have you considered inpatient treatment again? How do you plan on getting over this period of psychosis? You need to be baked baked act. Wow. Yeah, there's just I guess some back and forth between Tony and Christopher. Target Tony, leaving a live stream on, muting yourself is not a helpful tactic. I've tried harder. You realize I just leave and pop back in, right? Your tactic isn't working. Clown, get a real job. Targeted Tony died. I'm leaving a live stream on to mess with him. I'm not trying to mess with you, Tony. Muted for 25 minutes on purpose. Oh, to aggravate real targets in the audience. Who cooked up that one? Great job. I didn't mute on. I wasn't muted on purpose. Target Tony. I didn't even know I was muted. I was talking the whole time. The same trolls that stalk Tony and Abe also troll my channel as well. It's weird how YouTube and StreamYard doesn't hide them after I block them. They never have any videos or any content. Hmm. Christopher, Abe at least has a job and isn't that crazy. He can still function in society. Yeah, that's true. Abe can function in society and he does have a job. Tony is beyond gone. It's scary how delusional he is. He isn't in touch with reality. Tony just needs to get a job and work on moving out. Yeah, I mean that's lifestyle changes. These different lifestyle changes can help a person. Change it up a little bit. If things aren't working out, you're gonna have to do something different. Change it up. Targeted Tony, I can't work due to targeting. I was left unpaid a whole year and have been relying on a small disability check ever since. I would be making hundreds of thousands if I wasn't being targeted. I've explained this, perp. Well, so what are you gonna do, Target Tony? I mean, that sucks that you weren't paid for a whole year. So moving forward, what are you gonna do, Target Tony? Because you're gonna have to do something. Do you have a game plan? I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to wake up and realize you're gonna have to do something. The Matrix. Donovan Show troll me, trolls me. TNT Storm. Hmm. Tony, I've heard your story. You can't work because of targeting. Cheap out. You're delusional and cannot provide any evidence you are being followed or monitored. You see everyone as your enemy. Yeah, targeted Tony do see everybody as his enemy, or at least the TI community, or most likely content creators. Stop lying. Donovan swings on men's nuts. Christopher, targeted individuals can't answer straightforward questions. I know what you did. I know what you did. Okay. If Nerve heard Donovan use the word content, it would really grind his gears. Seventh, why do TIs think cars with one headlights are following, monitoring them? Lower voice to skull. It all starts with okay, so it starts with the idea. So for the TI going through this in the beginning and seeing a one headlight, if the idea the idea would pop into the TI's mind, if that idea actually are accepted by the TI, then from that moment on, the lower voice to skull will use it whenever the TI sees another one headlight. So it's once the idea is bought in to the mind of the TI and the TI see any one headlight in the future, the lower voice to skull will use that until the TI can somehow find a way to confirm if that's true or not. And most TIs don't go to that extent to confirm. For me, fortunately for me, that never bothered me because the one headlight thing never was a thing that bothered me. I don't even think about gang stalking when I see one headlight. I don't think about gang stalking when I see red shirts. So that was never a problem, and those things never scared me because the TI that sees one headlight, in a way, is they are scared because they associate it to gang stalking, and those are gang stalkers. So it's like a fear, a form of fear. Might not be a serious form of fear, but it's still an unsettled form of fear. And these TIs, they would use maybe the forums and messaging, social media platforms to spread this information. And any other TIs who read the information, the gang stalkers will know that information is now in the TI's mind. So that TI maybe never was bothered by one headlight. After reading the information, the next day will go out driving and saw one headlight, and then the lower voice to skull would kick in and remind the TI of what that TI read the night before. And once that information comes in, if that TI actually buys into that idea and believing, oh, maybe they are gang stalkers, then from that moment forward, that TI will have that fear inside that TI's mind. And it's like now, it's like almost like you can see imagine the picture of branching out, how it's just like a disease, like a virus that'll just branch out into other TIs who read that original article about one headlights. And now that thought is inside that TI's mind. And if that TI sees any other one headlights and bought into associating that one headlight with gang stalking, then that's how the lower voices skull would use it against that TI. You see how just now you eventually just start spreading and spreading, spreading? It just all could come from just one original post. Because the TI, whatever information the TI reads online or watches on video, now the lower voice to skull can use it against that TI if that TI bought into it, if that TI believes in it. So for me, it just I never believe in that, and so it never bothered me. I hope that kind of makes sense. I know kind of I was dragging that on. Um, kind of lost where I'm at. Where am I now? Okay, well, this just turns out the comments been turning out into a bunch of back and forth between other people. There's a Johnny Depp. There's a Stop Lying. It's just a bunch of random like non-related comments. All right. Well, looks like there's no more questions. So I'm going to end the live stream now. Well, it seems like people are just making fun of Target Tony, and Target Tony just I can tell he just wants answers. He's not a bad person, and sometimes, well, I would say a lot of the time he's frustrated, and when the person's frustrated, they can do things that just don't make any sense. And I feel like that's what targeted Tony's going through, frustrated all the time and just doing some things that are just doesn't make sense to other people. But he's not a bad person. I don't think he's a bad person. He's just really frustrated and pissed off. Christopher wrote, "Seventh, you sound pretty normal." Well, thank you. Compared to the rest of the TI community. Well, thank you, Christopher. But with that being said, though, I need you to understand that TIs they're not as dangerous as people believe because yeah, there's some mass murder, um, but I overall there's more mass murder from non TIs than TIs. Anybody who participate in this program chooses to go to hell. It is akin to selling your soul. Yeah, well, these are evil spirits. I mean, they're already there, I guess. Yeah, there's a lot of different accounts being commenting here. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to end the live stream. Sorry for the technical difficulty and the audio problem, but thank you for joining me. Have a good night. Shimhong signing out.